Have you ever met someone who smiles at you, but something inside you whispers, "Don't trust that smile"? They laugh at your jokes. They congratulate you on your wins. They even offer support when things go wrong. But behind the eyes, there's calculation. You see, not all enemies are loud. Some don't argue. They don't curse your name. They don't block your path. They walk beside you. Quiet, patient, strategic. And while you go about your day, chasing goals, building dreams, opening your world, they're watching, taking notes, learning your patterns, waiting for the moment you're most vulnerable to make their move. This isn't paranoia. This is clarity. It's not about suspecting everyone. It's about understanding that in life, some people don't just dislike you. They want to see you fall. And the worst part, they'll never announce it. They won't come at you head on. They'll come sideways. They'll smile while they study you. They'll cheer while they chip away at your confidence. They'll pretend to help, as long as it keeps you distracted from what they're really doing. Stoic philosophy teaches us that peace doesn't come from trusting blindly. It comes from seeing clearly. So today, I'm going to show you the 6 signs that someone around you may be secretly working to destroy what you've built, not just through direct attacks, but through slow erosion, silent observation, and patient sabotage. You won't hear them coming, but if you know what to look for, you'll never be caught off guard. If you value strength, resilience, and inner clarity, click subscribe and turn on notifications right now. Because on this channel, we don't just talk about protecting your mind, we live it. Now breathe in, stay sharp, and let's dive into the first sign. Sign 1, the silent observer, when all eyes are quietly on you. They don't talk much. Not about you, not to you, and certainly not around you. But they're always there. In meetings, in group chats, at gatherings, sitting silently, watching, listening. And while everyone else is caught up in the moment, they're taking mental notes. Silence is not always innocent. In fact, it can be a tactic, a weapon, a cloak. You see, some people understand that confrontation draws attention. And attention makes it harder to manipulate. So instead of stepping into the light, they hang back in the shadows, where they can see everything but remain unseen. They're not passive. They're calculating. They notice the way you speak, the things you care about, the people you trust. They file away your routines, your habits, even your insecurities, not because they admire you, but because they might use it later. This is not about being paranoid. This is about being aware. There's a difference between someone who's quiet because they're shy and someone who's quiet because they're studying you. Stoicism teaches that clarity is power, and seeing things as they are protects your peace. They ask the right questions, but never give answers. Ever notice how some people get you to open up effortlessly, but when the conversation turns toward them, they disappear into vague answers? That's not just social awkwardness. That's control. They want your details. Not to connect, but to collect. And the worst part, you trust them, because they don't trigger alarms. They never argue, never push boundaries. They just observe, and in that stillness, they make you believe they're harmless. But make no mistake, silence can scream louder than words when it comes from the wrong person. They're in every room, but leave no trace. In meetings, they nod. In group settings, they smile. They never interrupt. Never stand out, never challenge. But after you speak, you feel something shift. A glance, a tone, an energy, like something small just moved, but you can't quite name it. You're not imagining it. That unease you feel when they're around, that's your intuition warning you. This person isn't just quiet, they're intentional. Their silence isn't the absence of thought. It's the presence of a plan. They don't sabotage you directly. They don't need to. All they have to do is wait, watch, and when the time comes, when you slip, when you're tired, when your guard is down, they'll know exactly where to strike. Not in the obvious places, but in the softest ones, the ones you forgot you exposed. Think of it like chess. In chess, the most dangerous opponent isn't the one who moves fast. It's the one who waits, who thinks 10 steps ahead, who sacrifices now to trap you later. The silent observer is playing that kind of game, a slow game, and you don't even know you're on the board. But there's a way to protect yourself. Start by being mindful of who's listening. Notice who never shares, but always wants you to open up. Limit what you reveal, even in casual conversation. Pay attention to patterns. People who only show up when you're vulnerable, but vanish when you rise. Trust is earned, not given. You can be kind, you can be warm, but you should never be blind. The Stoics believed that a wise person walks through the world with eyes wide open. That doesn't mean fear everyone. It means recognize that not everyone smiling is a friend. Be careful who gets close, because not every threat is loud. Some of them are quiet, calm, even polite, and while they're watching you, they're waiting for you to fall asleep at the wheel. That's when they'll act. Don't stop being you. Don't lose your kindness, your openness, or your fire. Just remember, fire needs boundaries, because while it warms the right people, it can also light up the shadows where the silent observer hides. Sign 2. Subtle betrayal, when lies are disguised as concern. It starts with a question. Are you sure you're okay? Maybe you should take a break. At first, it seems innocent, just someone looking out for you. But after a while, you start to realize it doesn't feel right. There's something behind that concern, something darker. They're not just checking in. They're subtly steering the conversation, and they're using your vulnerability against you. Words are weapons. The most dangerous lies don't come with shouting or arguments. They come wrapped in a gentle, concerned tone, wrapped in a helpful suggestion. A carefully crafted statement that appears nurturing, but is designed to make you second-guess yourself. They plant seeds of doubt. It's not about outright deception. It's about distortion. They'll tell you something like, "You don't look so good today. Are you sure you're not pushing yourself too hard?" On the surface, it sounds like genuine concern, but deep down, it makes you wonder, am I really okay? These aren't simple questions. They're manipulations. What they're really doing is planting a seed in your mind, a small, subtle seed of doubt. And once it's planted, it grows. Every time you feel tired or unsure, that question echoes in your head. Are you really fine? Should you be doing more? Are you weak for feeling this way? They tell you what you need, but never ask what you want. One of the most insidious aspects of this subtle betrayal is how they define your needs. You might not even know it, but they're always telling you what's best for you, never bothering to ask what you actually want. You should rest. You should take that promotion. You should change your behavior to fit in. But when was the last time they asked, what's your goal? What do you want to achieve? They manipulate your actions with their concern. Over time, you may start to feel obligated to follow their advice. After all, they care about you, don't they? But this is how it works. It's never about you making your own decisions. It's about you feeling like you have to follow their suggestions. This is a dangerous game of manipulation. They will always make you feel like you're the one who's lost or unsure, so you need their help. They use your weaknesses as leverage. One of the most dangerous traits of someone who uses lies disguised as concern is their ability to target your weaknesses. They don't criticize you openly. Instead, they play on your fears and insecurities. Are you sure you can handle this? You've been stressed out lately. Now, you're not just questioning yourself. You're questioning your ability to manage life. And that is where they hold the power. They help you, but only to control you. You might find yourself thinking, I don't know what I'd do without their guidance. That's exactly what they want you to think. They subtly insert themselves into your life, pretending to be a supportive friend or mentor. But their goal isn't to help you stand on your own feet. It's to make sure you rely on them. The more you lean on them, the more control they have over you. This isn't love or friendship. It's manipulation. True friends and allies don't use your weaknesses to guide your decisions. They empower you to make your own choices, even if those choices are different from what they would choose. Subtle betrayal is about making you feel small, weak, or uncertain so that you depend on them. It's a way to control your thoughts and actions without you even realizing it. You start to question your reality. As time goes on, you might find yourself doubting your own perceptions. The subtle manipulations slowly erode your confidence. You begin to ask, am I overreacting? Or maybe they're right, maybe I do need their advice. The more they plant these doubts, the more you start to question your reality. This is the ultimate form of control, when they can make you second-guess your own thoughts and decisions. They isolate you under the guise of protection. When they start pulling you away from others, whether it's distancing you from friends, family, or colleagues, they disguise it as concern. I think you should avoid them. They're not good for you. Or, I'm just worried you're spreading yourself too thin. But what they're really doing is isolating you. Because once you're alone, you become more dependent on them. And that's when the control becomes absolute. Eventually, the lines blur. When subtle betrayal is at work, the lines between genuine care and manipulation become blurred. You're not sure where their concern ends and their control begins. They make you feel guilty for questioning their motives. They make you feel ungrateful for not accepting their advice. You're trapped in a psychological game, unsure who's helping and who's hurting. So, how do you break free? First, trust yourself. Trust your instincts. If something doesn't feel right, it probably isn't. The Stoics taught that wisdom is about seeing things clearly, without the distortion of emotion or manipulation. When you feel someone is trying to control you under the guise of concern, pause. Assess the situation. Ask yourself, is this really for my benefit or for theirs? Set boundaries. You don't have to be rude, but you do have to protect your peace. Learn to recognize the subtle ways people try to cross your boundaries and stay firm. Be kind, but don't be a doormat. You have the power to say no, and you have the right to make decisions that are best for you, not for them. Trust your inner voice. Finally, remember that no one knows you like you do. No one has your best interest at heart like you. The only person you owe an explanation to is yourself. Trust your gut, protect your energy, and refuse to be manipulated into living by someone else's rules. Sign 3. The friendly mask. When your enemy pretends to be your friend, the smile is always there. It starts with a friendly gesture, a smile, a handshake, a gesture of kindness. At first, you think nothing of it. After all, everyone needs a friend, right? But soon, you begin to notice something strange. The warmth they show you feels a little too perfect, a little too calculated. You can't quite put your finger on it, but deep down, you feel like you're being watched. And that friendly mask? It's starting to look more and more like a disguise. They get close quickly. One of the most dangerous things about someone wearing a friendly mask is how fast they move. They don't give you time to think. They come in fast, almost like a whirlwind, pulling you into their circle, becoming your confidant. They want to know everything about you. Your hopes, your fears, your insecurities. They want to know you. But why? Why so quickly? The answer lies in control. They want to learn everything they can, so they can use it against you later. Because while you think they're getting close, they're actually building a weapon out of your own vulnerability. They listen, but they don't really care. You might find yourself pouring your heart out to them, sharing your deepest thoughts, your most personal struggles. But have you ever felt like they weren't actually listening? You talk to them, but something in their eyes tells you they're not absorbing your words, they're absorbing your weaknesses. They nod and smile, offering support and comfort, but there's a strange emptiness in their responses. It's as if they're taking mental notes, using what you share as ammunition for later. They want to know how to break you, how to exploit you. They use your trust as a tool. It's not just about them gaining your trust. It's about them using your trust against you. By pretending to be your friend, they earn your loyalty. They know you'll defend them when others question their intentions. But that's exactly what they want. The more you trust them, the more you let down your guard. And the more you let down your guard, the more they can manipulate you. The slow shift in behavior. At first, it's subtle. They keep being kind, always there when you need them. But then, little things start to change. They begin to test your boundaries, pushing a little too far here and there. Maybe they make a joke at your expense, or they subtly undermine your achievements. It's never a full-on attack, never direct. But those little jabs add up over time, like tiny cuts that bleed out unnoticed. You start to wonder, was that a joke? Or was there something more to it? They hide their true feelings. One of the most insidious aspects of the friendly mask is how well they hide their true feelings. They will never show their true intentions, They'll be pleasant, always agreeable, and endlessly helpful. But beneath that friendly exterior lies something else. They may act like they have your back, but in truth, they're waiting for the moment to strike. The longer you stay unaware, the easier it is for them to maneuver. The fake compliments and praise. A friend who is truly on your side will celebrate your successes with you. They'll cheer you on and lift you up. But someone pretending to be your friend will use compliments to manipulate you. They'll shower you with praise, but it's never genuine. It's a way to soften you up, to make you feel good about yourself and lower your defenses. They'll play on your ego, making you feel like you owe them something in return. That's the moment they'll strike, when you're feeling the most confident and least prepared. They create division with others. When someone wears the friendly mask, they often work in secret, undermining your relationships with others. They may speak ill of your other friends or colleagues behind their backs, all while maintaining a pleasant face. "I'm just looking out for you," they'll say, while subtly planting seeds of doubt about others' intentions. They want you to rely on them. They want to isolate you, so you only see them as the one person who truly understands you. The more isolated you become, the more they control your narrative. Their affection comes with strings attached. In any healthy relationship, affection and support come freely. But with someone who wears a friendly mask, everything comes with conditions. They might offer help, but expect something in return. It might be a favor, a gesture, or even an emotional debt. Their kindness isn't selfless, it's transactional. And as soon as you can't return the favor, that's when the mask begins to slip. Suddenly, their friendship feels less like support and more like an obligation. They twist your words. Once they've built a foundation of trust, they start using your words against you. Anything you've shared with them in confidence will suddenly appear in casual conversation. They might twist something you said to make you look bad, or bring up something personal in front of others to embarrass you. They act like they didn't mean anything by it, but deep down, they're planting the seeds of your downfall. This is the most dangerous aspect of the friendly mask. It makes you feel like everything is okay, while secretly sabotaging your relationships and reputation. When the mask falls, at some point, the mask will slip. They can only keep up the charade for so long. Maybe it's a comment that feels too pointed, or a betrayal that's too obvious to ignore. Maybe it's a moment when you realize that their support was never genuine. The truth will reveal itself, but by then, the damage has been done. You look back and realize that everything they did, the compliments, the praise, the gestures of kindness, was just a well-crafted manipulation to get what they wanted. They didn't care about you. They cared about controlling you. Trust yourself. The key to spotting the enemy wearing a friendly mask is to trust your instincts. Something might feel off, even if you can't quite pinpoint why. Trust that feeling. Real friends don't need to manipulate or play games to be close to you. Real friends accept you as you are and support you without strings attached. When someone's behavior starts feeling like a performance, it's time to step back and reassess the situation. Don't let their kindness blind you to their true intentions. Sign 4. Gradual escalation. When the offense starts small, the first offense is always subtle. At first, it seems like nothing more than a small comment, a harmless joke, or a mild criticism. It might go unnoticed by others, and even by you at first. But this is the beginning. The quiet whisper, the unnoticed glance. They may throw in a remark here or a gesture there, but they disguise it as nothing. It's easy to dismiss at first because it's so small. You think it's nothing. It's just a joke. They didn't mean anything by it. But that's the danger. It's so small, so subtle, you might not even realize it's happening. They test your boundaries. Every time they throw out a small comment or make a slight dig at you, they're testing your limits. It's not about the words themselves. It's about how you react. They want to see if you'll challenge them, if you'll push back. How far can they go before you notice? How much can they get away with before you call them out? This is the dance of escalation. They want to see just how much disrespect you will tolerate before you stop them. You start to second-guess yourself. At first, these small offenses don't seem like much, but after a while, they begin to add up. You find yourself starting to question your reactions. Did I overreact? Maybe they didn't mean it like that. You start doubting your own perceptions, your own sense of what's acceptable. You're left wondering if you're being too sensitive, or if you're just imagining things. And in doing so, you become more vulnerable. You allow the pattern to continue, because you're uncertain whether it's worth confronting. It feels like a game. One of the most insidious things about gradual escalation is how it feels like a game. At first, they act innocent, playful even, but there's always a twist to it. The joke always feels like it has a sharp edge. The comment, while seemingly lighthearted, is wrapped in a veneer of truth. It's hard to pinpoint exactly what's wrong, because they keep it veiled under a layer of casualness. They're testing how much they can provoke you without you realizing the offense. It's a slow buildup, one where you never quite know when the next dig will come or when it will cross the line. They make you feel isolated. What starts as a small comment or critique often expands into something more. These small digs begin to subtly undermine your confidence, your relationships, your self-esteem. Eventually, the goal becomes clear. You start to feel alone. They know how to create an atmosphere where you start doubting not just yourself, but everyone around you. It's a slow burn that isolates you from those who would stand up for you. And once you're isolated, they have more control. It becomes harder to push back. As the offenses continue, they grow bolder. The small comments turn into more noticeable insults. At this point, you've already been worn down by the gradual escalation. You might feel that pushing back would make you look petty or overreacting. After all, it all started so small. It's almost like you're in a constant state of defense, constantly trying to protect yourself from things that are difficult to define. The cumulative effect of these small assaults on your psyche makes it harder to stand up for yourself. You question your judgment, your responses. What used to feel unacceptable now feels normal, even though you know deep down that it's not. They play the victim when confronted. When you finally have enough and decide to confront them, something interesting happens. They turn the tables. Suddenly, you're the one in the wrong. They'll accuse you of overreacting, of being too sensitive. They may even pretend to be the victim in the situation, making you feel guilty for bringing up the issue in the first place. This tactic is brilliant because it shifts the focus away from their behavior and places it on you. It's a mind game designed to make you question your own judgment. They've created an environment where you feel as though you're the one who has been out of line, not them. You're left wondering if you can even trust yourself. As the escalation continues, the most dangerous consequence is this. You start to lose faith in your own perceptions. You wonder if you're just imagining things, or if you're being too sensitive. The small offenses cloud your judgment, and you begin to doubt your ability to discern what's acceptable behavior. This is precisely what they want. You're now caught in a trap where you are questioning your own instincts, unable to see the manipulation for what it truly is. The lines between what is right and wrong start to blur. The damage is done slowly. Gradual escalation works because it's not an immediate assault. It doesn't create a shocking, blatant attack that you can easily identify. Instead, it chips away at you piece by piece. Each small offense seemingly insignificant on its own. But over time, the cumulative damage becomes undeniable. What started as a comment here and a joke there has now turned into a pattern of consistent undermining. It wears down your sense of self, your relationships, and your mental resilience. You've been subtly conditioned to accept less than you deserve. The breaking point. Eventually, there will be a breaking point. You will reach a moment where you can no longer ignore the pattern. The subtle offenses will build up to such a level that you can no longer pretend they don't matter. It might be a final comment, or a more obvious betrayal, but something will snap. And when that moment comes, you'll finally realize that the small offenses weren't small at all. They were part of a larger scheme to break you down. How to break the pattern. Recognizing gradual escalation is the first step in breaking free from it. It's vital to trust your instincts and set boundaries early on. The moment you sense that something is off, call it out. Don't let it slide. Address small issues before they have the chance to grow into something bigger. In relationships, the pattern of gradual escalation often starts with disrespect that's allowed to continue unchecked. By speaking up and asserting your worth from the very beginning, you can stop the manipulation before it takes root. Sign 5. The long game. When your enemy waits patiently. Patience is a weapon. The most dangerous adversaries aren't the ones who act impulsively or aggressively. No, the ones who should truly worry you are those who understand the power of patience. These individuals don't rush their moves. They don't need immediate gratification. Instead, they play the long game, biding their time, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. They know that victory doesn't always come from the quickest move, but from the one that's carefully planned and precisely executed. They're always observing, never rushing. While others are caught up in the rush of daily life, these individuals are watching. They're studying you. They're paying attention to your habits, your weaknesses, your patterns. They are masters of observation, quietly taking in everything around them without giving away their intentions. Every interaction with them is carefully calculated. There's no rush. They know that their time will come, and when it does, they will be ready. Unlike those who seek quick victories, they understand that true power lies in preparation and patience. You'll never see them coming, because they operate in the shadows. It's almost impossible to detect their intentions. They don't make loud moves or sudden attacks. Instead, they work behind the scenes, subtly weaving their plans. You might think they're harmless, even friendly, because they blend into the background of your life. They don't create chaos, they create calm. And in that calm, they make their moves. When the moment arrives, you won't see them coming. By then, they'll have already set the stage for their triumph. They use time as a weapon. One of the most powerful aspects of the long game is time itself. Time allows your enemy to build an intricate web of influence and control. It allows them to plant seeds that will grow unnoticed until the moment is right. In the meantime, they remain patient, waiting for the perfect set of circumstances to present themselves. This might take months, years, or even decades. But the key is that they don't care how long it takes. They know that time is on their side. They are willing to wait for the right moment when they can strike decisively, knowing that all their hard work will pay off in the end. They understand delayed gratification. In a world that values instant results, the person playing the long game stands apart. They have a unique ability to delay gratification. They don't need immediate rewards. They don't seek validation or immediate recognition. Instead, they are willing to wait. And that's what makes them so dangerous. They're not looking for a quick win. They're looking for the kind of victory that endures, the kind that cannot be easily reversed or undone. This ability to wait, to sacrifice the immediate for the long term, is what allows them to slowly, but surely, close in on their goal. They build a foundation of trust. Before they strike, your enemy has already laid a foundation of trust. This is how they can move so stealthily. They may appear kind, friendly, or even benevolent, gaining your trust and confidence over time. You might even begin to share personal information with them, confide in them, and rely on them in your times of need. They make you feel that they are on your side, that they are your ally. But this is all part of the strategy. By the time they decide to act, they've already built a web of connection, making their betrayal feel like a gut punch. You never saw it coming because they've spent months or years positioning themselves as someone you trust. They strike when you're at your most vulnerable. By the time your enemy decides to make their move, you will have likely let your guard down. You will be comfortable. You will be convinced that they are someone who has your best interests at heart. This is when they strike. They know exactly when you are at your weakest, perhaps during a time of emotional turmoil, after personal loss, or when you are dealing with other challenges. They wait for the moment when you are least prepared to defend yourself, and they take advantage of your vulnerability. This is why they play the long game. They know that in the right moment, your defenses will be down, and their strike will be all the more devastating. They know that small moves matter. Unlike those who make loud, rash moves, the person playing the long game understands that small actions matter. Every little decision, every word spoken, every subtle gesture counts. Over time, these small moves add up, and when combined, they can create a massive impact. Your enemy doesn't need to make grand gestures to break you. Instead, they use consistent, incremental actions that, over time, erode your sense of security. What feels like a minor inconvenience today might be the very thing that trips you up tomorrow. These small actions, when compounded, have the power to unravel everything you've worked for. They create a sense of inevitability. The most dangerous part of playing the long game is that your enemy creates a sense of inevitability. By the time they strike, it feels almost like fate. It seems like this moment was always going to happen. You might even start to wonder if there was anything you could have done differently. The strategy is so well executed, so meticulous, that it's hard to see it coming until it's too late. It's like watching the pieces of a chessboard fall into place over time, until suddenly, checkmate is upon you, and you never even saw it coming. How to defend against the long game. The best way to defend against someone playing the long game is to remain vigilant. Don't fall into the trap of assuming that everything is fine just because nothing seems amiss. Recognize the signs of manipulation, and be aware that not everyone has your best interests at heart. Trust your instincts. If something doesn't feel right, question it, even if there's no immediate evidence to support your concerns. Protect your vulnerabilities, and never allow yourself to become too comfortable with someone who may be working against you. Keep your boundaries clear, and don't let anyone get too close without truly earning your trust. Sign 6. Emotional sabotage. When they subtly undermine your confidence. Confidence is your most valuable asset. When you're confident, you can take on the world. You're not easily shaken. You move through life with purpose and conviction. But there are those who see your confidence as a threat. They know that if they can erode your self-belief, they can weaken you. And they don't need to do it with brute force. No, the most dangerous way to undermine your confidence is through emotional sabotage. It's subtle, it's quiet, but it can leave you questioning everything you know about yourself. The power of small, seemingly innocent comments. It starts small, often disguised as concern or helpful advice. They tell you things like, "Are you sure you're capable of that?" Or, "You might want to reconsider. It's a big risk." These comments may seem innocent, even caring at first glance, but in reality, they are designed to plant seeds of doubt in your mind. With every word, they are subtly suggesting that you aren't enough, that you're not capable, that you're better off backing away from your goals. These comments chip away at your confidence little by little, until eventually, you start questioning your own abilities. What was once a firm belief in your potential becomes a fragile whisper, easily swayed by their doubt-filled words. Emotional sabotage doesn't scream, it whispers. But those whispers, if left unchecked, can become louder than your own inner voice, undermining your decisions. Another way these individuals sabotage your confidence is by constantly questioning your choices. They don't trust your judgment and subtly make you feel like you're making mistakes. It might be in the form of, "I wouldn't do that if I were you." Or, "Are you sure that's the right decision?" At first, it might seem like they just care, but over time, these constant questions have the effect of making you second-guess every move you make. Instead of trusting your instincts, you start seeking validation from others. And the more you do this, the more your confidence in your own judgment fades. These individuals feed on your self-doubt, knowing that once they get you questioning your decisions, they've successfully created a sense of dependency. You'll start looking to them for answers, slowly giving them control over your choices. A hidden compliment disguised as criticism. Sometimes the emotional sabotage comes in the form of backhanded compliments. These are the subtle remarks that seem like praise, but in reality, they're meant to undermine your confidence. It could sound like, "Wow, I'm surprised you actually pulled that off," or "You look great for someone who doesn't usually try that hard." At face value, these might appear to be positive comments, but they carry an underlying message. You're not good enough. You're only successful because the odds were in your favor, or because you got lucky. These remarks create a narrative in your mind, a narrative where you believe that your success is not the result of your own talent or hard work, but rather a fluke. This erodes your sense of self-worth. Over time, you begin to believe that everything you achieve is somehow less impressive or less valid. The damage is done quietly, under the guise of praise, leaving you unsure of whether your accomplishments are truly earned or just a result of good fortune. They target your insecurities. Everyone has insecurities. It's part of being human. But those who practice emotional sabotage know exactly how to target them. They notice your weaknesses, your fears, and your doubts, and they exploit them. It might be a comment about your appearance, your intelligence, or your capabilities. They zero in on what you're most sensitive about, and they make sure to remind you of it at just the right moment. This deliberate targeting forces you to focus on your flaws, making you feel less than you are. Their goal is simple: to shift your focus away from your strengths and to keep you preoccupied with your perceived shortcomings. Over time, you stop seeing yourself clearly. You begin to feel as if you're not worthy of success or happiness because they've convinced you that you're somehow broken or incomplete. They isolate you from your support system. Emotional sabotage isn't just about undermining your confidence in private. It's also about isolating you from those who would encourage and uplift you. These individuals know that if you're surrounded by people who support you, they'll never be able to break you down. So, they subtly work to undermine your relationships. They might suggest that your friends or family don't truly understand you, or they might plant seeds of doubt about their loyalty by making you question those around you. They isolate you emotionally. You become dependent on them for validation and reassurance. They are the only ones you trust, and that's exactly what they want. The more isolated you become, the more control they have over your emotional state. They've turned themselves into the only source of validation in your life, and the more you rely on them, the weaker your confidence becomes. Gaslighting, making you question your reality. One of the most insidious tactics in emotional sabotage is gaslighting. This is when someone manipulates you into doubting your own reality. They make you question your perceptions, your experiences, and even your memory. For example, they might say, "That never happened," or "You're overreacting," even when you know your feelings are valid. Over time, this creates a deep sense of confusion. You begin to feel as though you can't trust yourself, that your emotions are invalid or exaggerated. When you no longer trust your own judgment, your confidence evaporates. You start to feel lost, uncertain, and unsure of who you are. This is the goal of emotional sabotage: to make you doubt everything you know about yourself. How to protect yourself from emotional sabotage? The first step in protecting yourself from emotional sabotage is to become aware of it. Recognize the subtle signs that someone is trying to undermine your confidence. Trust your intuition. If something feels off, it probably is. The next step is to reinforce your self-worth. Understand that your value is not determined by anyone else's opinion of you. Build a support network of people who genuinely uplift you and distance yourself from those who try to tear you down. Set firm boundaries with those who try to sabotage your confidence. Let them know that their remarks are not welcome and that you value yourself too much to tolerate their manipulation. Lastly, always remind yourself that your confidence comes from within. No one has the power to take it away unless you allow them to. As we close, remember this: not everyone who smiles at you is your ally. The world can be full of people who wear the mask of friendship, but beneath it lies a different truth. A truth you must learn to recognize and protect yourself from. Now you've seen the signs. You've learned the subtle cues, the whispers of betrayal, and the ways people may try to undermine you. But your confidence, it's yours to keep, as long as you trust yourself. Protect it, nurture it, and stand firm in who you are. You are enough. No one has the power to take that away unless you let them. If this message resonated with you, if you've ever felt the sting of betrayal or the quiet weight of emotional sabotage, don't leave without making sure you're armed with the knowledge to protect yourself. Subscribe to the channel so you can stay ahead, learn more, and grow stronger. You won't want to miss the insights we're sharing here. Together, we'll build the strength to face every challenge and every person who tries to tear us down. Hit that subscribe button, and let's keep growing, learning, and empowering each other. Stay strong, stay vigilant, and never forget, your confidence is yours to keep.